It was 7 a.m. when Elias took the turn at Wayek Junction to join Herbert Macaulay Way, the road that led to Juelega. He was heading to his office at Surulere. His mind was occupied with so many thoughts. He wondered what the business juggernaut he was going to meet with at 9 a.m. would be like. I hope this deal clicks, he thought to himself. On the other hand, he was still worried that he had left home that morning without a kiss from his wife. They fought last night, and Sarah was still very angry. She managed to make him breakfast, and he hoped she would be calmer by the time he returned home from work. I will buy her that perfume she asked for, he said out loud to no one and smiled. His mind returned to the road. It was free. Here we go, he said. Then he heard the loud sound. Boom! A minivan had hit his Rolls Royce. It was a yellow bus popularly known as Korope in Lagos. The driver of the bus came down and saw that his bus was sandwiched between the black car he just hit and the concrete road demarcation. Shewereni, he yelled at the driver of the car, who was still lost. Elias could not believe his beautiful car had just been dented, and the person who did it thought he was right. So he stopped the engine and stepped out of his car. That was a mistake. He was about to learn that. The crowd began to gather. The traffic began to build in all directions, and the area boys around the bus stop and load park nearby began circling the scene. At this time, Bola and her friend Kemi came down from the bus. They were going to stop at the Wayek bus stop, but their driver was too fast and collided with the beautiful black car. But who cares? Let's take Kekeke from here and be going, Joe, Kemi said. Wait small, Bola replied. The Keke Napep almost hit Bola where she stood by the road watching the scene unfolding before them. But Kemi pulled her off the road quickly. She staggered and steadied, thanked her friend and continued staring at the scene. Like seriously, you want to be late for work today, Kemi chided. Omoge, this is always the sweetest part of this kind of accident now. You know, time to blow grammar don't reach. Let's watch a bit before we go, Bola pleaded with her eyes. And she was right. As long as there was no major injury or mishap in an accident in Lagos, the scene always had her fair share of drama, as if all the actors were in place waiting for the director to say 3, 2, 1, action. The Korope driver went off. I just fixed this thing new. Na in this guy carry eye put for pocket spoil my boss. His eyes were red. He was standing close to Elias, and that was when he saw the eyes and smelt the alcohol in the man's breath. And to his surprise, no one was talking about the man who was obviously high before him. Neither did anyone care that the man's inordinate speed was what really caused the accident. He was sure to check the road before turning in. He has explained that already. Oga, na you cause am, was all he heard from the hoodlums who had now become the arbitrators in the case. This makes no sense, Elias thought to himself. Oga, accept say na you cause am. Settle this guy, make everybody dey go. People continued saying, my damage is higher, and he shouldn't be driving when he is that high, Elias tried to explain. A decently dressed man came into the scene. Elias breathed out when the man asked everyone to calm down. He asked Elias what the issue was, and Elias explained. Looking at the positions of the car and the bus, everyone with the knowledge of driving can tell the bus caused the accident. Yet, the bus driver stood his ground. Some other men sided with him. The decently dressed man asked the bus driver to tell his own side of the story, just to be fair. Na me dey go straight, na him dey turn, the driver said. Who come baje who motor ni? The decently dressed man nodded at the explanation and looked at Elias. My brother, pay up so we can all go to work, he said and walked away towards his own car. Elias could tell he was right. The picture before him was not one he was familiar with. Neither was he versed in the way out. He had frozen on the spot. There was a lot of shouting, seeming acts of "we will fight you today," obvious moves to extort him, the onlookers who just seemed to be attending a very fun show, and the blaring horns as cars lined the traffic and honking their horns to force them to break up the party. Elias dipped his hand in his back pocket and brought out his wallet. He only had a few naira notes, some 100 US notes, and his bank cards. The bus driver had demanded 50,000 naira to fix his damage. He only had 20,000 naira. Unsure what to say, he took a deep breath. Just then, a very firm hand wrapped around his palm and wallet. He looked up in fear. The young man smiled at him. "Oga, you dey fear?" he asked, still smiling. Elias relaxed a bit. There was something really beautiful and warm about the smile this young man gave him. The smile was quite bright despite the stains on his teeth. He wore worn-out dirty clothes and his palms were just as dirty, with the dirt in his nails saying it has been ages or never since it was last manicured. The young man pushed Elias's hand down. "Oga, put your money for pocket," he said with an air of finality. The hoodlums ceased their display, all eyes on the new player. "Alaye, make una waka dey go una end," he commanded. "Wetin now, chairman?" some of them asked. "Egbon, you don spoil something for here oo," an angry member of the group glared at him. "If you no comot for here, I fit spoil your face join," the young man responded. That did it. He definitely ranked higher than others for whatever this was, Elias thought. The group started walking away slowly. The young man turned to the driver. "Boss," he pleaded. "Ice water." The driver mellowed. Elias could not believe his eyes. The young man then turned to him and said, "Oga, you go settle us like 5-5 Chelsea, then you go waka dey go." Elias was confused. The young man ignored him and waved the lady selling cold drinks by the roadside to come to him. The woman ran over with a bowl filled with different types of drinks in sachets. The young man picked 5 sachets of Chelsea dry gin and handed them to the driver. In return, the driver raised his right hand. "Twale," he said, got into his bus and set it on reverse, yelling at the vehicles and people behind him to give way. The young man turned to the woman and picked out 5 more sachets of the Chelsea dry gin, turned to Elias and raised the sachets in greeting. He tore one sachet with his teeth and drank it all in one gulp. "We don settle. Give am money," he said, pointing to the woman beside him. "After you don pay am, enter your motor dey go," he said and walked away. Crossing the road, Elias watched as the young man jumped and sat on the high concrete pillar, holding the electric pole close to where some yellow bottles were packed. "Oga, make you do abeg. I leave my market for that side." The woman's voice called him back to reality. "How much?" he asked. "Na 1.5, she responded. Elias gave her 2,000 naira. The woman checked her pocket. "I no get change. Make I ask my neighbor," she said and beckoned on someone sitting close to where her goods were. "Iya Sikira!" the woman shouted. "Never mind, Mama. Keep the change," Elias said. He was grateful for the young man he just met. He did not even know his name. "Eshesa," the woman thanked him, mildly kneeling in the customary Yoruba way before walking away. Elias could hardly hear anything going on around him. He was staring at the young man who sat on his elevated point by the electric pole on the other side of the road, carefully putting sachets of Chelsea dry gin in his breast pocket. His phone rang, and the vibration called him back to the present. He answered the call. "We'll be there in 20 minutes," the voice at the other end said. See you in 20 minutes, he responded. The road was clear as the traffic had ebbed. Elias got into his car and drove off.